I went to a tag sale and I got these two routers, both the same, and they say parts tool free, but they look like they're in pretty good shape, so I am going to take them apart and see what's wrong with them. The person who owned these did Korean countertops for people, and he said that the dust gets inside and messes up the brushes or the armature, and he didn't want to deal with it or know how to fix it. So hopefully the armature is just gummed up with plastic dust and the brushes aren't making good contact, and that's what's making it not run. So I'm going to take this apart and see what happens. So before I took it apart, I decided to see what happens when I plug it in and turn it on. As you can hear, it actually does run, but it sounds awful. It sounds squeaky. This stops hard, so something is wrong with the bearings inside. So I'm going to take that apart and see if there's something replaceable inside. So I'm not sure what this piece is, but it certainly does not look healthy. Noticing this odd nut has this thing on the side. I was like, what the heck is that for? Turns out you can push that down and do a quick adjust, because you don't need any strength, and it's quick adjust up and down. That's pretty neat. Still, I'm not seeing any screws that let you take the top half and separate it from the bottom half. But actually, right down in there, there's a hollow. Right in there, that looks like it might have a screw that would hold the top half to the bottom half. And let me get it apart. Yeah, you bet. 2 screws on that side. There's probably 2 on this side. I just need to get... I figured out what this doohickey is. It's supposed to be on here and run inside here and be a magnetic pickup, so you get your speed adjust. So that's what this thing is, but it is all sorts of wrecked. So that's the speed control is not working on this. So there's your switch. Pretty good snap action. Gets activated by a little rod. And that little doohickey sticking out goes in that slot. Goes in that slot there. Pulls the switch up and down. So it still doesn't want to come apart. Got the screws out. Doesn't want to separate. I think I need to take off this snap ring. So I'm going to go get my snap ring pliers, take that off. So I got the snap ring off. Now I'm going to work on taking out the brushes before I pull the armature out so I don't break a brush. Now that I got the snap ring off, you can see the bearing. I don't know if the color's going to show up. Oh yeah, there we go. See that nice purple color? Something got way too hot. So this might be what's holding it together. This ring screws on to here. So this bearing is just hammered. The inside carrier is all busted up. I'm back, and this time I have a hammer. So that gap has opened up a little bit. So I guess I'm going to keep whacking on it. Go in the right direction. Don't appear to be breaking anything. Now this should come off. Yep. Oh yeah, that's super crunchy. Alright, now what's the plan? So that's a spacer. Alright, now let's see if this whole armature will tap out this way. Boy, it does get packed full of dust. Take the brushes out. So those are pretty chipped, but I don't think I did that this time, taking them apart, because the crack is dusty. If your crack is dusty, it's not a nice fresh crack. So I don't know if that bearing, how that bearing is supposed to come out. See, that plastic's all melted. But if you look down in there, it's also melted and still doesn't look like it would come out. So maybe it's not meant to come out. But we will see if I can actually get it to physically come out. We will see. Alright, got a knife. Let's see if I can get the plastic trimmed away. I'm going to see if I have a duller utility knife blade. That's a little bit better. So I got the outer part off. You can see the bearing better. And that is just hammered. Oh, it turns one way. Barely. It's all crunchy. Ugh. Let's see if I can get that bearing to knock out. So there's the bearing. There's a stack of these spring washers. And that's the bearing. So I took apart the other router off camera to see what was wrong with it. And I found out that the bottom bearing was bad on that one. This bearing doesn't even turn. It did a little bit when I first took it out. But now I mean, without pair of pliers, I can't get it to turn. The second router, the bottom bearing was bad. The first router, the top bearing was bad. And the other thing that came out of the bottom bearing is this stuff. It's like this fine black powder. I bet this is burned Cordian dust, where it got stuck in there, rolled around, got hot, got past these dust seals. I was able to take the good top bearing and the good bottom bearing and make one router that works. So I have parts on order to get two routers working, but as of right now I have one router that works. This is the second router that I got. It's the non-variable speed one. But I put both good bearings in this router, so now it runs, coasts nice and smooth. So I have one working router from two broken routers, and like I said before, I have parts on order for the other one. It's about $50 in parts, so I'll end up with two routers for $50 as well as, well, some labor. While I had my camera out again, I figured I'd show you guys this. This is the pole piece that helps the router know how fast it's spinning. It's got magnets in there, and you can see that using the magnetic viewing film. You can see it's got, I don't know how many, several magnets around there. So that will, when it spins, it'll send out a series of pulses to the little brain in there, and it'll figure out how fast it's going and how fast it should be going and do all of its adjustments. So that's what that little doohickey is.